Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe.
Today we're going to talk about Elon Musk's fatal mistake with Doge, and I've got 3 interviews. I speak with Congressman Jamie Raskin about his own feud with Elon and Trump's broader overreach. Senator Brian Schatz joins to discuss his plan to...
Wait, if he's talking with Raskin first, let's watch this.
Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury.
We haven't even gone into any of the Treasury shit yet.
But you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that.
Our next guest, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland, says he has a new legal theory for how Americans can sue Elon Musk. Congressman Raskin, join us now.
Welcome, Congressman. I'm loving this theory. It's very interesting. Explain it to us, how citizens can sue Elon Musk and Doge, and how 18 U.S. Code 1030 can be applied.
So the first thing to understand, Michael, is we are winning in the courts. And people need to understand that. Judge Gia Cobb in the District Court in the District of Columbia just halted their efforts to out thousands, I think 6,000 FBI agents across the country for their involvement in prosecuting January.
Oh, we haven't done the FBI stuff at all either. Jesus Christ. I don't even know any.
Judge Kolar Catelli shut down the raid on the Treasury Department. And so the courts are doing their job. I've been at rallies all week because, a rally a day keeps the fascists away. But it was bugging me that these guys, Elon Musk's, midnight fascist crew of teenagers and 20-somethings have been able to access everybody's computer data in the country. And that's why a lot of the courts are getting involved. But it was killing me because I wanted to spend some time with the statutes. And so this weekend, I've been looking in the statutes. And one of them, which is getting to be in contest now, is called the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986. It was actually pushed by Ronald Reagan, who at Camp David had seen the movie War Games and got very concerned about the security of government computers. And he, with Congress, pushed for a statute to make it a crime to, on an unauthorized basis, to obtain other people's information and then distribute it. And there have been tons of criminal prosecutions on that. But if you read the statute, there's also a private right of action. So if you are a citizen, and you can integrate this with taxpayer privacy data statutes, if you are a citizen whose private data has been compromised through a breach of government computers, you can actually sue for damages. So what I'm thinking about and talking to my friends at Democracy Defenders and other lawyers about is, could there be a nationwide class action lawsuit to follow up on last week's victories against Musk, against the Trump administration for this breach in computer security and the data of all American taxpayers? It could be a class action suit on behalf of all Americans. If the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers want to opt out and they don't want their part of the money for the contamination of their data, fine, they can opt out. But really, it's a suit on behalf of everybody because that's our information. It doesn't belong to Elon Musk or his little midnight crew. It belongs to the people, and the government has to hold it in trust. Now, there's specific statutes which say that information can only be accessed for tax purposes, for the purposes of the internal revenue system, and for no other purposes. What are they using that information for?
Can I just say, Congressman Chairman, I made a decision not to go to law school, and somehow you have me reading U.S. code on a Sunday morning.
It's a good day when you do that.
Thank you. Thank you for the free education. I mean, what's interesting to me is the nobody elected Elon.
Wait, you hold on. Just with slightly lighter skin? A little bit, maybe? Yeah? Come on. You guys are coping so hard right now.
Musk Act that you and your colleagues are putting forward. It's one of several pieces of legislation promoted by Democrats to try to hold Elon Musk accountable. Here's the question. Have any of your Republican colleagues showed any interest in joining you in this effort toward accountability?
No, at this point, they're either out there cheerleading for Elon Musk, or more and more of them are getting real quiet because they see the public does not like this. The public does not like the idea that a guy who would not even be constitutionally eligible to run for president is acting as president, a guy who, if he were president, would be impeached immediately because he's taking billions of dollars in foreign government emoluments from all over the world. And some people have actually been talking about impeaching President Elon Musk right now, on the theory that he's usurped the powers of the presidency. So I think a lot of the Republicans are just going to wait and see which way this goes. You know that there are a lot of very right-wing MAGA Republicans like Steve Bannon who are completely opposed to Elon Musk and what he's doing. Bannon has called him a truly evil person. And Laura Loomer has warned of what they're trying to do in terms of creating a techno-state monarch in the new century. Obviously, Elon Musk has much bigger plans than Donald Trump, who, we know just wants to become the richest person in the world and get all the attention. But Elon Musk would really like to completely overthrow our system of government and move us into some kind of techno monarchy under the geniuses of Silicon Valley.
I find it fascinating that in all of this, no one's really leveled up the fact, you just touched on it, Congressman, that Elon Musk is a government contractor. Right?
Spending billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars of government 18 plus individual contracts with the U.S. Why aren't we exposing those people? What's in those contracts? Because Doge is not going to look at those contracts.
Yeah.
Well, why doesn't Congress say, look, okay, Mr. Musk, we want to call you in to have a conversation about your contracts, since you are a federal contractor. You can be a special purpose, whatever. in other words, how does Congress deal with someone like Musk, who, as you noted, is using the White House, the authority given to him by Donald Trump? It all flows back to Trump, by the way. But he's using that to push out and basically dismantle our government. And it's seemingly he's getting away with it. And Congress is kind of like, well.
No, he's not getting away with it. I mean, he is getting cut down to size every day in court, whether it's at the Treasury Department, FBI, with the Department of Justice. And the reality is that he is a huge government contractor. He collects billions of dollars from the U.S. taxpayers. And he has an obligation right now under federal legislation to file his ethics disclosure forms. And we haven't seen those ethics disclosure.
Are there conflicts there between what he's doing and his contracts?
There are radical conflicts of interest. For example,
then suspend the contracts.
Well, there we go. I mean, the problem is the executive
has to do it.
Branch right now is not enforcing that process, but we are going to have to make them do it through the judicial branch and by Congress. But there are radical conflicts of interest. He is overseeing his own government contracts. He keeps talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. How about the waste, fraud, and abuse that was being investigated with Elon Musk in China by AID, which led him in his outrageous destruction of foreign aid, which is coming back to haunt U.S. foreign policy.
Now you know why, folks, he's going after USAID, because USAID was calling him out. Congressman Raskin.
Is that actually true? Is there any evidence of this? USAID investigating, like what, under what purview? Like, why would they even be investigating him? Alleged USAID probe into Starlink raises Elon Musk conflict concerns. USAID was investigating his relationship. Wait, stop. Okay. USAID was investigating its relationship with Starlink just months before tech billionaire Elon Musk attempted to shut the agency down. The freezing cuts to the Foreign Aid Department. USAID and Starlink collaborated to provide 5,000 Starlink terminals to Ukraine to give the country fighting Russian invasion access to Musk's advanced internet system, operated through SpaceX, as reported by The Lever. In addition to another ongoing audit on direct budget support, we are examining USAID's energy security project, USAID's oversight of Starlink satellite terminals provided to the Ukrainian government, and USAID's efforts to protect against expedition abuse in Ukraine. When completed, we look forward to one of Musk's first moves at Doge has been to dismantle USAID. Okay, so it doesn't sound like it was like under investigation, like there was wrongdoing or something. It just sounds like it was almost like a routine audit or just ensuring that the money was being spent properly or something. No, it seems like what it is. Okay, I was just curious because I hear this talking point a lot. All right, Jesus. The best stills.
Stall Trump's progress, and I interview Senator Chris Murphy about Trump's effort to distract us with his flooding the zone approach. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie. So the talking point being trotted out right now about Elon is that if you support getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, then you would support him and Doge's mission. And it makes sense on its face. In fact, that's a mission that I agree with. But here's why what Elon is doing undermines his own stated goals. Think about where he started. Agencies like USAID and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Let's start with USAID. Probably helpful to begin with this point. The USAID Inspector General was investigating how Musk's SpaceX Starlink satellite terminals that were purchased with agency funds were used in Ukraine's war over Russia.
Okay, I would have to see more about this. Maybe he'll link something here, but that I don't like the terminology. It was investigating, makes it sound like they had like some kind of suspicion that there was like wrongdoing, but it doesn't sound like that was the case. But maybe he'll have more information on this. We'll see.
So Elon was under investigation by the very agency that he immediately moved to dismantle. Already reads as a pretty massive conflict of interest. But let's get into the practical implications of that move. USAID costs about 0.5% of the federal budget. It offers essential life-saving programs around the world like clean water and HIV prevention, already unto themselves worth it. But it's not just that. Just as importantly, from a geopolitical perspective, it is a tool for American soft power. When you hand out medicine or food with an American flag slapped on the label, you buy goodwill around the world. That is goodwill you can cash in on during conflicts, for favorable trade terms, for military or intelligence purposes, to build up alliances. So it's a win-win. It's doubly as beneficial. But by dismantling that agency, not only do we leave actual human beings hanging across the world, which will absolutely have real-life impacts on people who require medical care, who require water, who require food, but we also lose an inexpensive but effective tool for soft power. And guess what country is going to fill that void? China. They've got what's called the Belt and Road Initiative. That involves more than 150 countries and organizations. And when the U.S. moves out, by virtue of dismantling USAID, China moves in. That means that when it comes to trade, when it comes to alliances, when it comes to cooperation, when it comes to minerals, deference is paid not to the U.S., but to China. Does that...
Stop. People keep saying this. No, he helped Russian with Starlink by sharing it with them and turning it off when the UA attacked multiple times. Every single thing Musk does comes from Russia. Stop. When you're talking about like investigating somebody, that sounds like a crime or some crazy shit. I don't think that would be investigated by USAID. That sounds like something that would be investigated by like the FBI or the DOJ or something. That's not... I don't think that USAID would be the one leading this investigation. And if there's like some criminal wrongdoing like that, I guess. Project announcement. So this is the Office of Inspector General. So this is like the watchdog agency for USAID. It just says the USAID Office of Inspector General, Inspections and Evaluations Division is initiating an inspection of USAID's oversight of Starlink satellite terminals provided to the government of Ukraine. Our objectives are to determine how, 1, the government of Ukraine used the USAID-provided Starlink terminals, and 2, USAID monitored the government of Ukraine's use of USAID-provided Starlink terminals. This doesn't sound like it has anything to do with wrongdoing, unless I'm missing something, or there's some other statement or some other announcement. I don't think this has anything to do with any kind of like criminal wrongdoing or anything, unless I'm missing something.
That seem like it's in our national interest? Not really, no. But you know whose interest that is in? Perhaps a billionaire who's invested a lot of time building up his portfolio in China. Tesla's Shanghai plant opened in 2019. It's the company's largest factory. It accounts for half of Tesla's global car production. So Elon has a vested interest in kowtowing to China. In other words, while dismantling USAID hurts America, it is a gift to the country that Elon stands to benefit from helping. And, by the way, it ends an investigation.
Wait, USAID provided the Starlink dishes to Ukraine, so did Elon literally get money from USAID? Yes.
Hurts America, it is a gift to the country that Elon stands to benefit from helping. And, by the way, it ends an investigation into his own possible corruption. Bad for America, good for Elon. Another example, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Elon tweeted, CFPB RIP. Now, I want to be clear about what it is the CFPB does. It literally exists to protect consumers from predatory banks and financial institutions. Its budget is about $800 million, but it's returned over $21 billion, with a B, to 205 million consumers so far. It sent 6.8 million consumer complaints to companies for response. 63 million unique visitors used their tool Ask CFPB. That's an online resource for answers to a variety of common financial questions. And the CFPB levied a historic $2 billion fine in one single enforcement action against Wells Fargo for mismanaging auto loans, mortgage loans, and deposit accounts. This agency, again, quite literally only exists to help consumers. The sole result of this move is that Americans will have no recourse when they get screwed over by a bank. $800 million in an annual budget for a $21 billion.
Is Elon Musk mad at them because of some PayPal shit? Don't bite the bait on that or whatever. Elon Musk has nothing to do with PayPal. He never had anything to do with PayPal, okay? Elon Musk has nothing to do with PayPal, never had anything to do with PayPal. He sold that shit back in like 2002, okay? Before it did anything. It was like a subdivision of like another company that like just managed payments for everything. Don't ever give Elon credit for like building PayPal or being a huge part of PayPal, okay? He was never a huge part of it. It wasn't even a huge thing when he sold it, okay? Don't ever assign any amount of credit to him for anything related to PayPal, okay? That's bullshit, all right?
$1 billion return. Are you kidding me? With the USAID example, at least I could figure out how Elon could derive some financial benefit. But this one, I don't even see the upside for him. It is a handout to predatory banks. There is no upgrade for anyone other than financial institutions that are looking to screw people over. And so look, again, getting back to the thesis of this thing, I am absolutely in favor of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. But when you start off by dismantling an agency that just so happens to be investigating you, an agency that costs barely anything, an agency that offers invaluable resources to the world, an agency that affords us major soft power benefits, and another agency whose entire purpose is to help victims of financial crimes, then the message that you're sending is that you're not actually serious about your own stated mission. That, like so much else that the Republicans do, is nice branding, but once you dig in an inch beneath the surface, there is nothing there. I mean, hell, the Pentagon has failed 7 audits in a row. 7 audits! You've got an agency that is the poster child for financial mismanagement, but you start off with the CFPB? That is why Elon's commission...
a lot of not great talking points mixed in here. The Starlink USA thing is nothing. This Pentagon audit thing is nothing. It is true, though. Why go after the CFPB? That's really weird. If you're really looking to save some money, I don't know why you wouldn't start with the DoD, right? That seems to be the obvious first place, just because these are your hugest line items, right? These are the, like, by far the largest areas where you're spending all your money. I don't know why you would start with these, like, what did he say the CFPB's annual budget was, like $800 million? Why are you starting here?
Looks, sounds, and smells like a sham. Because thus far, the biggest beneficiary isn't working class Americans, it's not Trump's voters, it's not Americans more broadly, but rather Elon Musk himself. You don't get credit for rooting out abuse if your raises more questions than it answers. Next up are previews of my interviews with Jamie Raskin, Brian Schatz, and Chris Murphy. But just a quick reminder, you're watching my once weekly video podcast, No Lie, with Brian Tyler Cohen. This is identical to my audio podcast. On this show, meaning just one show per week, there are sponsors. So here's a quick word from some sponsors, and then the interviews with Raskin, Schatz, and Murphy. No Lie is brought to you by Uplift Desk. So I do massages and chiropractic work every week for my failing body, but going to these appointments is really just a band-aid when it comes to my well-being. It's taking daily, even hourly opportunities to move my body that really does make the biggest difference. And this has only been made possible for me with this episode's sponsor, Uplift Desk. Uplift Desk is at the forefront of ergonomic solutions, promoting better posture and health through adjustable standing desks, which are just...
Maybe I'm a retard, but the Pentagon failing audits is not nothing. The whole Pentagon audit thing has to do with the fact that they just recently started having a process by which they would audit the Pentagon differently. Like a new process was initiated a decade ago, I think maybe, that had never been initiated before, and they're just trying to bring their systems up to date, basically. And that's not even expected to be done until 2028 at the earliest. It might have been 2032, but they're gonna quote unquote fail every audit until that point. But it doesn't mean the money's gone or the money's unaccounted for. It's just them updating their systems to be like working well with whatever new auditing process they were trying to implement. That's all that is. People just keep citing it like the Pentagon's losing money or it's in a black hole or nobody knows where it is. That's not true. It's just them slowly upgrading their systems to be more compliant with this new auditing process that they're not expected to even be compliant with until, again, like I think a few years from now, even like several years from now.
Designed to help you live a healthier lifestyle. And for me, just being able to stand and move throughout the day helps me focus and stay productive. I'm way more alert versus when I'm slumped over in a chair all day. Plus, they have all kinds of accessories and customization options so you can build the perfect workspace. I'm a particular fan of the added shelves for my monitors that give me the entire desk's real estate to use. And also, the desk itself is just so sleek, and I'm a sucker for design. Make this year yours by going to upliftdesk.com/BTC and use our code BTC to get 4 free accessories, same-day shipping, free returns, and an industry-leading 15-year warranty that covers your entire desk and an extra discount off your entire order. That's upliftdesk.com/BTC and use code BTC for a special offer. And it's only available at our link. Start 2025 right. Stand, move, thrive with Uplift Desk. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. So we often hear about red flags, but what if we focus on green flags? If you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify green flags, actively practice them in your relationships, and embody green flag energy yourself. If we should be looking to do anything in this insane political environment, it is taking control over the things that we do have control over. And this would be a meaningful one. And look, as far as therapy goes, I'm a huge proponent. A lot of my friends do it. I do it. The stigma surrounding it is gone. And so why not invest in yourself and your mental health? You can be a little selfish this year and finally take care of you. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. You'll get access to a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And you can easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost to find the one that's perfect for you. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/no-lie to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/no-lie. So as it relates to Elon, I know that the answer is that he can't do the things that he's doing, but the reality is, the practical reality is that he is doing them. So given that we're beyond the point where he and Trump are respecting the law, what is our recourse then here?
Well, we're going to have to fight them in every channel and social context and governmental arena that we can. We're going to fight them in subcommittees and in the committees of the House and of the Senate. We're going to fight them in court. There have already been several setbacks dealt to the administration in court. As you know, Donald Trump tried to impose a new birthright citizenship rule, basically taking millions of people who are United States citizens in the country and then making them into undocumented immigrants based on who their parents were. That was shut down by a Reagan-appointed judge. They're appealing it, but that's a win. As you know, they froze federal spending at the end of last week and over the weekend, completely nullifying congressional power over appropriations. That's a central power of the legislative branch of government, the power of the purse. Again, a United States District Court judge in the District of Columbia shut that down and enjoined it. And there were oral arguments on that yesterday that went very well for our side. So we are going to assert the Constitution, the rule of law, the civil service rules as a blockade against what they're doing at every turn. And public pressure, public vigilance about what's happening are going to be essential in this process.
It feels like there's nothing that we can do to prevent all of this stuff from happening. You've taken a different approach, and you have actually done something. Can you explain what you've done?
Well, I've placed a hold on all State Department nominees, and I don't want to exaggerate our power here. We lost the Senate 53-47, so eventually they will get all of their nominees. But this will, gum up the works and make it a little more difficult for them. I think we need to use whatever leverage we have, which over the next several weeks is pretty minimal, because when it comes to nominations, they have their majority. And I think we've seen with RFK Jr., with Tulsi Gabbard, with Kash Patel, that they're not going to block any of these nominees. They're just not. They're going to get their cabinet. After that, Democrats in the United States Senate are needed in order to enact a spending bill, in order to do any number of things. So it's one of those things where in the first month of any presidency, the legislative branch is way less relevant. Then there's a kind of recalibration of they're going to have to start to talk to us.
There's no reason ever right now to expect that Republicans won't just kill the filibuster for spending shit, right? Like that would be like the least ridiculous thing that they've done if they were to have issues like passing spending and shit, right? Like.
And I think we intend to use our leverage. Now, I'm not here to preview exactly how we're going to use our leverage, but I think a couple of things have happened. There's been a disconnect, I think, with voters out there, people out there who want to see us fighting, sort of between are you fighting hard enough, and then sort of randomly tweeting out things that really would be ineffectual, right? And it would have all the impact of like a sternly worded memo. Right. I mean, I've actually told my staff there are going to be exceptions, but like no more letters to Trump saying you shouldn't have done that, right? It's
the sir, excuse me, sir letters.
How dare he? Yeah. Look, he's doing it. But the other part of this is that I actually think the grassroots is waking up too. Like I've talked to a number of grassroots organizers, and the truth is, like on Inauguration Day in Trump won, there was a mass movement against him. And that mass movement, in my view, still exists, but it was dormant, right? And so I remember being home in Honolulu, and one of the, and people sticking their head out the window, saying, go get him, that kind of thing. And for I would say the weeks after the election, that was not the vibe, right? Yeah. And once these executive actions started, the grassroots sort of started to awake. And now they're appropriately putting pressure on their Democratic leaders to try to do more. And I'm going to try to do more.
So I want to turn your attention to a tweet that you posted that I think really perfectly encapsulated the moment that we're in right now. I'll put that on the screen right here. I have news for you. We aren't taking over Gaza, but the media and the chattering class will focus on it for a few days, and Trump will have succeeded in distracting everyone from the real story, the billionaires seizing government to steal from regular people. So we've seen this strategy before. And by the way, they're not shy about actually imposing this strategy. Steve Bannon calls it outright flooding the zone with shit, and that's what we're seeing at play right now. I mean, they're calling it the shock and awe campaign. They're freeing insurrectionists. They're signing executive orders. They're, whatever they can do to basically scatter everybody's attention in 15 different directions is what they're doing right now. But to the exact point that you were making with your tweet, the billionaires seizing government to steal from regular people, can you explain what's happening right now as far as Elon Musk is concerned, wherein he's effectively running unaccountable to every different government agency with no oversight by anybody else in the executive branch or even those in the legislative branch whose job is to jealously guard their own prerogatives?
Well, thanks for amplifying that post, because I've spent the last 24 hours avoiding reporters' questions here at the Capitol about Trump's comments on Gaza. Not because they don't have impact. I mean, no, we're not occupying or invading Gaza, but just saying that makes America less safe. But right now, we need to be laser focused on what is happening in the United States of America, because we are literally losing our democracy as we speak to the billionaires that are brazenly taking control of the government so that they can turn the government into a fountain of profit for themselves. So why does Elon Musk want to shut down USAID? Well, a couple of reasons. First, he makes a lot of money off of American foreign policy and off of his relationship with China. So he makes.
I don't know if this matters, or I don't know if whatever. Maybe it is the best way to message. I'm not sure. But like this obsession with like the billionaires and they're like, bro, we're losing our country. Like, does nobody care about that? Do we not give a about the United States, or is this all really? Does it have to be done through the frame of like the billionaires, the billionaires? I mean, like, I think sometimes it's good to hit on it, especially if other people like the Trumples are claiming, like, oh, well, we're not going to let your tech billionaires take us over. Well, they would never say that now because now they love the tech billionaires. But like everything this guy's saying is like sounds like, listen, America, who cares about America? But like those billionaires, I don't know, but. I don't know. Maybe that's what people like.
A profit for themselves. So why does Elon Musk want to shut down USAID? Well, a couple of reasons. First, he makes a lot of money off of American foreign policy and off of his relationship with China. So he makes habits cars in China. He wants American foreign policy to be friendly to China. And a really nice gift to China is the erasure of USAID. This is the agency that essentially chases China around the world trying to reduce their influence. And now that it's gone, China can expand its influence and the amount of money that it makes off of it.
Just digging into that first.
How would you communicate a constitutional crisis to the average voter? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's two versions of America, basically. There's an old version of America that is imperfect in so many different ways, but was hopefully a project that was on its way to forming a more perfect union, whatever, right? Like we started out with slavery, we got civil rights. We started out with only men voting, we got women's suffrage. We've committed grave mistakes, and we've righted some of those, we're like a work in progress. Or we can destroy America and remake it in Trump's vision, and we can see if the vision that Trump and the Silicon sycophants have is better than the project that we were working on prior to that. That's what it comes down to. But the issue is that so many people have spent so much time trashing the concept of America, like the far left and then all of MAGA. I don't know who the center left is. I don't know who's who's an America stan. You're like a loser if you're an American stan, So I don't know.
World trying to reduce their influence, and now that it's gone, China can expand its influence and the amount of money that it makes off of
and just digging into that for a second, they have basically a counter program. That's the Belt and Road Initiative. Is that correct? Where they basically try to imbue their own soft power across the world as kind of a counter to USAID. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a race that's underway right now. Who is going to control the piping of the international economy, the highways, the information highways, the port infrastructure, the supply of critical minerals that are necessary for chips and batteries. In order to control that infrastructure, you've got to have governments all over the world that are willing to sell it to you. And USAID helps us create relationships with countries so that when they're selling a port, they don't automatically just go to China, that they at least let the United States make a bid. Now that USAID is gone off the playing field, the only place those countries have to go for help confronting viruses or addressing a famine or economic development is China. And so China will be able to build all these relationships around the world, and then all of a sudden we'll wake up one day and the United States economy does.
It's a good populist point, but it's also correct. Musk could not be doing what he's doing if he had a net wealth of $2 billion. Billionaires are intrinsically dangerous in a way that wealthy-ish small billionaire or small business owners not. Maybe, but also I don't think this is about money for them. I think it's about something more. That's what it feels like to me. I think there's something ideologically at stake here, at least with people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I think there's something more at stake here than just money.
And so China will be able to, build all these relationships around the world, and then all of a sudden we'll wake up one day and the United States economy doesn't have access to the global economy because China owns it all.